Ever feel like understanding what really makes relationships tick and how we thrive as individuals within them is maybe way more complex than all those quick online articles suggest?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's really about getting to grips with some fundamental human dynamics, you
Mm.
know. And when we understand those better, it changes, well, pretty much everything.
Right. So today we're going to do a deep dive into something really core to our society, womanhood. We'll explore its inherent value, the vital role of support from partners, especially husbands, and also why self care is just non negotiable for women.
And this is so important, really, because whether you're a woman navigating your own path or maybe you're a man wanting to be a better partner or honestly just anyone interested in how society works, getting these ideas around value and partnership and well-being,
Hmm.
it offers some really powerful insights, for building better, more fulfilling lives.
Okay, let's unpack that. It feels like often when we talk about women, we immediately jump to roles, like what they do, but let's start somewhere more foundational, the intrinsic value of just being a woman.
Exactly. That's the crucial starting point, isn't it? Womanhood is so much more than just a list of roles. It's a fundamental human experience. It often involves this innate capacity to nurture,
Hmm.
yeah, but also to lead, often with a specific kind of empathy, to love deeply, and frankly, to be a force for transformation,
Hmm.
sometimes in really quiet ways.
Quiet ways, like silent architects almost, holding
Mhm.
things together, balancing tradition and progress, often without the big spotlight.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about the sheer range, right? Daughters, sisters, mothers, sure, but also professionals, leaders, innovators,
Mm.
visionaries even. And what they often bring is this infusion of empathy, intuition, a collaborative spirit. It really changes the dynamic in a space.
Uh-huh. It does shift things. And historically, it's interesting how women have often been central to preserving culture, driving education, providing that crucial emotional stability in families and communities. That's a massive influence, often kind of behind the scenes.
It really is. Across so many cultures and times, women have been these anchors, ensuring knowledge gets passed down, keeping things emotionally grounded. And when their voices and perspectives are genuinely included, you tend to get more balanced outcomes, more peace, more cohesion. It just works better.
So the core takeaway here is women have inherent value just as individuals, full stop. Not because of a specific role, like being a mother or a wife, but just because of who they are.
Precisely. Their worth isn't conditional, it's intrinsic. And recognizing that basic truth, well, that really sets the stage for everything else, doesn't it? How partners, how society should engage. Which leads us right into, okay, how can men shift from maybe older ideas of leading to truly walking alongside women as equals?
Perfect transition. Yeah, let's talk about men's role in respecting and supporting women, because it does feel like some of those traditional ideas, they need a refresh, a serious one.
They really do. The old model, often focused heavily on protection and provision. And while those can be part of support, today's understanding is much, much richer. It's got to include emotional intelligence, genuinely sharing responsibilities, and really listening, actively listening, and valuing her perspective as equal.
Okay, so practically speaking, what does that look like day to day? What are some tangible ways men can step up, offer better support?
Well, one huge thing is respecting her individuality, truly recognizing she has her own dreams, her own fears, her own voice, and actively making space for her autonomy, her growth, not seeing her as like an extension of himself or some kind of project to manage.
Right, not someone to fix or shape. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, what's
Mhm.
another key area?
Emotional availability, that's massive.
Yeah.
Women often navigate really complex emotional worlds and sometimes carry, let's be honest, a disproportionate amount of the emotional labor, often silently. So men being willing to actually check in, to listen without trying to immediately fix things, to just validate her feelings, that creates such a sense of safety,
Mm.
of being truly seen.
Being fully present emotionally, not just physically there. And I know the whole division of chores and responsibilities is always a big one.
Oh, absolutely. A true partnership means shared investment.
Yeah.
In everything.
Mm.
Domestic duties, parenting, finances.
Mm.
It needs to be a joint effort. When it's balanced, it doesn't just lighten the load, it allows both people to thrive, right? It strengthens the whole relationship foundation.
And it goes beyond just the practical stuff, too, doesn't it? Like supporting her ambitions.
Exactly. Being her biggest cheerleader. Whether her goals are about career or personal development or family, whatever it is, he needs to be her strongest supporter, not just like a passive bystander or worse, someone who subtly or not so subtly resists her growth.
Yeah, that resistance part is critical. And you mentioned safety before, the idea of men being a source of peace.
It's fundamental. In a world that can often feel unsafe for women in various ways, the relationship, the home, there needs to be a haven. So it's really on men to bring kindness, patience, integrity, to be a source of peace, not conflict. Which naturally kind of brings us to the husband's role more specifically.
Right. Because that partnership, husband and wife, feels particularly pivotal. It's about building a life together, not one person running the show.
Precisely. The focus has got to be on nurturing that connection.
Yeah.
Through love, yeah, but also consistency, real partnership, not dominance, not control.
Yeah.
Healthy marriages thrive when husbands are allies, willing to learn, willing to compromise, building a future with their wives.
Okay, so what does that look like? What are some hallmarks of a husband who's really nailing this supportive partner role?
Well, first off, he acts like a partner, not a boss. Decisions are collaborative, built on trust and mutual respect, not him needing to have the final say or control everything.
And communication must be huge there.
Absolutely essential. Open, honest talk about goals, yeah, but also disappointments, money stuff, intimacy, personal needs, all of it. That ongoing dialogue is like the lifeblood of the marriage.
And I love the idea of the husband as an encourager, someone who actively speaks life into his wife.
Yes, that's so important. Believing in her strength, reminding her of it, especially when things are tough. That kind of active encouragement, it can make all the difference.
And one more point you mentioned earlier, being a student of his wife, taking the time to truly understand her.
It really highlights that commitment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To keep learning about her, what brings her joy, what scares her, how she feels loved. When a husband invests that kind of attention, the marriage becomes a refuge, a place of renewal, not another source of exhaustion. But of course, it's not all on the husband or partner. Women have a vital role in their own well-being, too. Self-care.
Yeah. And self-care, it often gets framed as selfish, doesn't it? Especially maybe for women who are natural givers. But it's becoming so clear it's not a luxury, it's essential.
It's absolutely essential, not selfish at all. For anyone who's constantly pouring out to kids, partners, careers, communities, if you don't replenish, you burn out. Simple as that. A depleted woman can't effectively care for anyone, including herself, or pursue her own happiness.
So what are some practical ways women can actually reclaim and protect that well-being, especially when life feels overwhelming?
Okay, number one, I'd say, is prioritizing rest. And that means physical rest, sure, like enough sleep, but also emotional rest. Saying no sometimes, taking quiet walks, building in moments of actual stillness.
Sounds basic, but yeah, often the first thing to go out the window. What else?
Nourishing the body, it sounds cliche maybe, but eating well, moving your body regularly, staying hydrated. It's foundational. It impacts your energy, your mood, your resilience, everything.
Totally. And protecting your mental space. That feels more important than ever with, constant notifications and demands.
It really is.
Yeah.
Finding ways to process thoughts and emotions is key. Maybe it's therapy, maybe journaling, maybe just carving out uninterrupted thinking time. Whatever gives you that mental clarity and emotional breathing room.
And I liked the point about pursuing personal passions, too. It's easy for those things that light you up as an individual to get lost.
But holding on to those interests, whether it's art, faith, learning something new, community work, whatever it is, that's crucial for feeling like a whole person, not just the sum of your roles and responsibilities.
And lastly, that idea of surrounding yourself with support, choosing relationships wisely.
Yes. Being intentional about who you give your energy to, seeking out people who energize and support you, not drain you, and being, frankly, unapologetic about protecting your peace. It's a form of self-respect. Recognizing your own inherent worth isn't tied to your productivity or how much you do for others.
So putting it all together, it really paints a picture of shared responsibility, doesn't it? Creating environments where women are truly respected and can thrive isn't just on men or just on women. It's a joint effort.
Exactly. Real respect for womanhood isn't about performative gestures. It's built in the small daily decisions we all make. It needs men who uplift and protect because they genuinely revere women, not out of some sense of obligation. And it needs women who feel empowered to live authentically, practice self-care without guilt, and champion each other, without that competitive edge or shame.
It's a powerful message. Womanhood is strong, it's resilient, and it absolutely deserves to be honored through actions, through equality, through genuine care.
Well said. Absolutely.
So as we wrap up, here's something for you listening to think about. Consider just one small shift you could make, maybe in your own life or in your relationships, to better recognize the inherent value in people, particularly women, and to foster more supportive connections. Just one small thing. What kind of positive ripple effect could that have?
Yeah, sometimes those small shifts are where the real change begins.
Definitely. If this deep dive resonated with you today, please do take a second to like this, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to have you back for our future explorations. Thanks so much for joining us.